Yo, what's up? What's up? It's Paris Life. You can follow me at Paris Life Music on Instagram, at Paris Life Music 6 on TikTok and Twitter. Paris Life Music, Paris Life Media. We blowing up, baby. We're going hard in the paint. So today's video is going to be about making beats, how I got into making beats, the whole shebang. Okay, so how did I get into making beats? Well, it's very simple. I needed beats. I really needed beats badly. Nobody I knew made beats, okay? I didn't meet like a real producer till I met my homie Mario Castellini, who I talk about a lot in these videos. He was a really big part of my journey, right? But Mario was a beast when I met him, and I met him through my guy Fila. All right, Fila's another big part of the journey. You guys are going to see more of him as things keep on going. All right, so, stay tuned with the content. It's going to get crazier and crazier. I promise you, we're turning up. We're turning up. It might not all be out here in the forefront, but trust me, we're about to blow up like an atomic bomb, all right? So it's going down. But anyway, so to making beats, so let's talk about that real quick. I'm gonna have to look at my notes and everything, make sure I got stuff right and informative so you're not getting wrong information, all right, and then not being able to get any value from this, all right? So here we go. So how I started again, didn't know anybody, right? So my grandfather, God rest his soul, bought me FL Studio one summer. I was 15 years old. Okay, so I had just met Mario, but we hadn't started working together yet. And so I was still out there. Originally, before I got FL Studio from my grandfather, the producer edition, before that, I had actually been making beats really with this Yamaha keyboard, but it wasn't a workstation. All right, and you might be like, oh, what's a workstation? A workstation is typically a standalone device that you can make beats on, right? So it could be a keyboard with a computer in it, and that computer has all the processing power, memory, everything that it needs to be able to hold songs inside of itself and have you make tracks in it and do the whole nine, do sequencing, drum patterns, etc. The whole nine inside of that thing. You can mix in it a little bit, add effects, right? It's a whole digital audio workstation inside of that module, that controller. So those are workstations. My uncle had one, God rest his soul. He had a Triton, but I have never had one of those specifically. I have other software, digital audio workstations, right? But anyway, so I had a little Yamaha keyboard, so I would literally have to play the beat the whole time, right? The whole entire time that the beat was going. So boom, 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 for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long the beat was. Then the synthesizer, same thing. Same thing for 2 minutes, however long the beat was. I had to keep on doing that. It was crazy, right? And then, same thing with the claps, right? Just for the whole time. So I was doing that. And then I would also use Audacity to record my vocals. I know this ain't really about vocals too much today, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway. I was using Audacity, a free program which you can download to record my vocals at that time. I was doing some light mixing with it and everything, but eventually I got FL Studio where I was able to make real beats on a computer, and that really kind of turned my game up, and I got into sampling a little bit while I was using that. So shout out to Grandpa, love you, man. God rest your soul in heaven. So that's kind of how I got into it. Then I let somebody borrow that FL Studio. I never got it back. I'm not gonna name names, but yeah. Anyway, around that same time though, I had actually picked up Sony Acid. And so I still had a program, FL Studio, installed on my computer. So I was still able to make beats on there. And then I would actually use Sony Acid to record my vocals. It was like $70 and it got the job done a lot better than Audacity. Audacity is really a joke compared to some of the other audio programs you can get. Even with a really small investment like $70, $100, you can really get a cool program. And I'll get more into that in a little bit. So had Sony Acid, it was cool. Learned how to use GarageBand because when I went to Youngstown Cultural Arts Center, shout out to them, they had Macs, almost like Mac everything. So I learned how to use GarageBand while I was there. GarageBand is dope. So for those who don't know, let me elaborate on GarageBand a little bit. GarageBand is a free program that comes on every single Apple device. Okay, so it actually exists for iPads and iPhones, which is a really cool way to kind of get into making beats if you haven't done it before at a really low cost. I think it's actually free. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, I would definitely look into that. But beyond that, it comes on every Mac, like MacBooks, Mac Pros, every Mac computer, PC. It comes with that program already. That program is pretty dope. It has everything you need to get started. All the I want to say plugins, but technically plugins, different effects and things that you need to get your beats going. It has all of that inside. So if you own a Mac and you want to make music, and you're talking about you don't got the money to buy a program or whatever, no, that's a big excuse, because it comes for free. And if it doesn't have it already, you can download it for free on whatever Mac you own or whatever Apple device you own. As long as it's an iPhone or an iPad, they got the app. If you got a MacBook or any kind of Mac computer PC, either comes on it or you can download it for free. Okay. But then, so following my learning of that and my education into that, then I got into Reason. One of my homies had a homie. I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but he was a computer hacker. And so he actually, he bootlegged Reason 3.0 for me. So that was really cool. So I didn't really know how to use it much, but I had it on all my computers. And then Mario Castellini knew this program like the back of his hand. So Mario showed me how to use Reason. Okay, so that's how I got kind of nice with Reason. Sorry, I got something in my eye. But that's how I got really good with Reason, was learning through with Mario Castellini. He showed me the whole game, basically. Now, this is Reason 3.0. So this is before they had audio recording in that program. But we'll get to that later in a second. And then a good friend of mine, Alan Ismac, shout out to you, man. Alan Ismac, he gave me a free copy of Cubase 5.0, I believe, or Cubase 5. And so I was using that to record my vocals now, and it's a full-fledged program. And then Cubase, and then I had Reason 3.0s, but I would make all my beats on. So now I was in business. Now I was at a point where I could actually charge people to come to my house and record songs for them, make beats for them, etc. When I had this set up right here. And this is just mostly the software and stuff. So I can get into like recording later, but this is pretty much what I was making my music with at that time. So songs like Raindrops, if you're one of those people who remember that song from way back, yeah, I was made on Fruity Loops, but then it got re-recorded on stuff like this. You know what I mean? So that was a cool little setup. Then Reason 5 came out with the recording feed. Well, they had Reason Record, I believe, around when 5 came out, but I think it was 5 or 6 where they just put it together, where it could record audio too. So then I was doing everything in Reason. I still really like Reason a lot. I don't use it anymore, but that's because I use other programs, which I'll get to in a second. But Reason for audio, oh my gosh, it's so easy and it's so quick and it's very intuitive. That's what I really love about Reason. They did that really well with like the hotkeys and the commands and everything. Very intuitive in my mind. But realistically, disclaimer, any program, if you learn the hotkeys and get used to it, you can be an absolute beast with it. Like my boy Jay Battle, he's incredible with Cubase. He just runs through it like it's nothing. My boy Matt Lowen, he runs through Pro Tools like it's nothing. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a little bit like that with Logic nowadays, and a little bit like that with Machine. But anyway, so just learn your software is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, whatever software you use, make sure you learn it. Reason 6 was my jam, right? I'm going hard. I'm still making beats on it and everything. But then I found Machine. So Machine is where things really got turned up. Okay, so Machine is an investment, because even the new ones, it's always been about $600 to buy it, right? I was at Best Buy working there, so I got an employee discount, and that's all I'm gonna say. So I copped Machine and I fell in love with it. I was like, oh my gosh, like I saw people using it, they really liked it. I got the Mark II around the time it came out, maybe a little bit after. And man, that just really changed my whole enjoyment of making beats. It took it to the whole next level. It's very intuitive. And you can really get into the groove. You can really get into the bounce with Machine. And even when I educate children on how to make beats, my favorite way to do it is with Machine. Though Ableton is another really good way. But Machine is my personal favorite. It's just very intuitive. When they see the pads, they go crazy, like, oh my gosh, what is this? They just want to play with the pads. It's really crazy. But even if as a grown ass person, like, it's like, whoa, this is really fun to use. So Machine is my favorite. So then what I started doing around 2012, 13, I would make all my beats with Machine, especially my drums. But actually, yeah, my whole beats, I'll make those with Machine. And then I would record on my vocals in Reason. Because I'm not really a huge fan of recording the audio into Machine if it's not for sampling. You know what I mean? I have friends that do it for regular tracks the same way that I would in a different program. But anyway, that said, Machine is still super fun to use. I still use it to this day. Okay, now I use the Mark III. The software got upgraded. We'll talk more about Machine in a little bit in their standalone, right? Or maybe in the next video, actually. But yeah, so that was Machine. And then I finally stumbled across Logic. So Logic is just GarageBand on steroids. So Logic is dope because it's just like GarageBand, but a way bigger, better version of it. It has more features. You can get more detailed with the way you edit things. It's $200 and you have it for life. So I really like that program a lot. And that's where I record all my vocals at. Like a lot of the songs you've been hearing me do recently have been all on Logic. Or at the minimum, I record the vocals on Logic and then I send them to Matt or whichever engineer that it is, which is usually Matt. And then we mix them on Pro Tools. But I record on Logic a lot with all the T's. I record on Logic a lot. Okay, so those are examples of all the different programs you got that you can make beats with. In Logic, now I gotta say this. I know I said I record with Logic, but I make beats with Logic too. The thing about it, Logic is not as fun for me to make drums, but everything else is phenomenal. So Logic is really how I create songs. I can bang out a beat in Machine super quick and have it sound cracking, have the drums just be on point. Then I bounce it out into WAV files, all the little drum tracks, the kicks, the hi-hats, the snares, everything, the perks, all of that. And then I put those into Logic. And so if I got, let's say I just got a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, and maybe a crash. Usually I got more than that, but let's say I just got those 4 drums sounds going. I'll export those out of Machine, and then I'll export those into Logic, where now I got these drum tracks, and now I use Logic. I like the native sounds in Logic, but you may need, and I do recommend having plugins and VSTs with whatever program you get. So especially with drums, because the stock sounds are not going to be that banging in any program. But you got to get some drum sounds from other sources. And that is where you're going to get your cracking drum sounds. That's how you make that bounce happen. The stock sounds have never been that great to me. Reason has some okay ones. But overall, I almost always have different drum sounds. Mario gave me a whole bunch of drums, and I still use some of those to this day. And then I also found other drums that I continue to use to this day. So I might get into that as far as samples, VSTs in the next video. I don't want to make this one too long. So I'm going to wrap this video up, and I'm going to wrap it up with saying whatever software you use, make sure that you study it. Your digital audio workstation, whatever software you use, learn it and keep using it. It's better to be a master at one software and know how to do everything in it than to try to use a bunch of softwares and not really be a master and just maybe a jack at each of those, all right? Love y'all. See y'all in the next video. Peace.